For many, the month of August signifies a return to school, and for some, that means entering college or the workforce. As parents, what do you do?
Well, you can be really happy, or you can be really sad, or a little bit of both. The transition can be difficult for some parents. Well, that's why our friends and leadership coaches, Mike and Wendy Perry, are back with us here in the Mix studio to talk about this particular time in a family's life. Guys, good to see you.
Good to see you.
In a minute. Good to have you back.
It's great to be back.
Parents can be so full of questions during this time, and it is okay to feel that way, correct?
It is okay to feel that way. You know, we've been through this, and this time of year, we often talk about it in the marriage shop. So many parents feel that it came on them all of a sudden.
Yes.
You know, it's, first we were juniors, then seniors, and we're getting ready to make this transition, and boom, it's happened already.
Right.
It's time to go. Or they're already gone, really, at this point. And so you can feel a little sad, you can feel a little stressed, and that's normal.
Yeah, and I often think back with our girls, there was tension.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, I think that's God's way of preparing you for them to go.
Right.
I was ready. I thought I was.
Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's right.
And what are some of the stages parents may go through with this?
Yes, I think, initially there can be grief. You have to trust your preparation. You've been practicing this for a number of years, whether it's the first time you take them to daycare, if they go to daycare or preschool. Each time you're letting go a little bit. And so as you go through those rehearsals, it's kind of by the time you get to that last time where you're taking them to college,
right,
it's kind of like, oh, it feels so final. You know, what's going to happen? Are they going to call? And so grief is probably an initial thing. Then there's, what do I do with my time? Then there's, will they answer my calls? All those things. We just stalked our girls on Instagram for a long time.
You didn't mention panic.
Oh, panic, yes.
Because I remember I'm looking at the calendar, I'm like, man, there's so much I have not poured into these kids.
Right.
I got to get it in there now at the last minute, which is impossible.
Yes.
And we were just talking about this before, because I did this in 2018.
Yes.
Turned it around because of COVID. They had to come back.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you, for want of a better phrase, kick them back out again. Which we didn't really do. No, is there a period of second guessing yourself as parents when you get to that point? Just like you mentioned, there's so much I haven't told them yet, or so much I haven't shown them yet.
That's right. I think we believe we have to have them fully prepared when they leave. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to have all the answers. You have to maybe do things the way I did them. And you begin to think, man, there's so much I didn't do. And
yes,
so there's a lot of second guessing. I think it's important to let kids, these young people, fill in the blanks. We have to pass the baton because it's their race to complete, not ours.
And Michael is so concerned. He's like, oh, I don't think they really know how to ride a bike yet. I got to get that in. They don't know how to skate. I failed them. And it's like, oh, and I was watching YouTube videos on how to fold fitted sheets so that I could then prepare my child. I'm like, okay, come in here. This is so important.
It's like
we had a twin sheet. I know. It's like, get the twin sheet. You got to know how to do this when you're not with us. How to wash your clothes without turning everything white to a different color that you don't want. All those things, but the truth is you really have to trust that you've been planting those seeds all along the way.
Right.
And let's talk about how a parent's role changes and what to do.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because some parents set their clock in their calendar to what the kids are doing. And when that's not there, it's like, what do I do next?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you have to maybe think about, first, you're not the parent that you were before. Now you're maybe coach, maybe you're guide, and you're not leaning in and directing their entire lives, right? And so I think that's really important to allow them some autonomy. Yes,
and parenting adults is completely different than any other stage of life. And so most children go to college when they're 17, 18 years old, so they're becoming adults, and then they turn 21 while they're in school. And so that systematic letting them go, you have to be assured that when they're not with you, they're making good decisions. And then you just remind them to make good decisions. But try not to overwhelm them with everything every time you talk to them. And so that coaching piece or being an advisor, one of the things we learned is don't give unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of us have learned that the hard way, too, but yes. I remember the first time that Alice came home from school, and you could visibly see a difference.
Yes.
She wasn't a kid anymore. She was an adult.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that just kind of pulls the strings a bit right there for you. What would be the one main takeaway for this if you're talking to parents about the kids that are about to leave and fly the coop?
I would say one main takeaway is you made it. With all your mistakes and your mess ups, you made it. They're going to make it too. They'll be fine.
Yeah. And, enlist the help of other people, other resources, other parents maybe that have gone through it before. I think that's so important. And there's a website, Grown and Flown, that is helpful. And they have tons of articles. And I'm sure they're on Facebook and other places, but that's also a great resource because you're not in this alone. I think that's really important to know.
Great tips to keep in mind here.
Yeah.
Mike, Wendy, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You can be an empty nester. It's okay.